Okay, this is a 5-minute video on how to make a bowl. I call it a bowl is born because it is a piece of art. Something is not just simply made, but really when you've been doing it for a really long time, it's like a bowl is born on the wheel. Anyway, as you can see, what you need to do is you take the clay and you throw it on the wheel, and then you have to center the clay. The centering is done by coning up and coning down. I like to do it at least 2 times, and it really prepares the clay for throwing. It makes it a lot easier, than if you didn't do that procedure. Well, after you got it pretty nicely centered, then you need to drop the hole. And I like to just drive my 2 thumbs down there, and then after I get it down there, I open the bottom, and then I like to then raise the wall. So the raising the wall is done on the right side of the wheel. You're looking on your left, my right. And it's done by adding water and holding the sponge and putting your hands together and squeezing that wall of clay and squeezing it and raising it up to the rim. As you can see, I've just done 2 pulls, and now I'm just going to finish it off by pressing slightly on the inside with the sponge to smooth it out and to give it the final form. Now what I'm doing is I'm using the potter's rib, the stick there, to create a groove. Then I want to cut it off with the wire. And then I'm going to lift it off very carefully and try to get it over there to my circle bat over on the side there. I'm going to let that dry for a little while. Anyway, that's all there is to the throwing, believe it or not. That didn't take very long. And we're going to go into the trimming now. So this bowl now is dried for a little while. It's now leather hard. And so I'm going to put it on a cookie of clay on the wheel head there. And then I'm going to center it, and then I'm going to apply my trimming tool to trim away the extra clay on the bottom. That's my dog barking there, sorry about that. But anyway, trimming away the extra clay, and I'm going to make a foot ring on the bottom of this bowl. So the inside of the bowl has a round form. I have to trim the outside to match the inside. That's why when potters are talking about throwing forms, they say you need to throw the inside of the form, and then you're going to trim the outside later, will match the inside. Now the trimming is very fussy, and there's my dog again. Yeah, I know. Anyway, you have to be careful with the trimming. It actually can take more time to trim a pot than it does to throw a pot, and you're trimming away almost half the weight of the clay. So let's say that was about 6 or 8 pounds of clay I was throwing. By the time I finish trimming, it's going to be almost half the weight. It's going to be taking away almost half the weight from what I was throwing. Something like that anyway. There it is. The bowl is now trimmed, and it's ready to dry out, and then it'll go into the kiln for one firing, the bisque firing. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to dip this bisqued bowl that it's been in the kiln once, and I'm going to dip it in my glaze. That's a white glaze in there, and I'm using the tongs to hold on to it, letting it drip, drip, drip. And then we're going to try to get this thing over to the table without dropping it on the floor or something like that. So as you can see, it's beginning to dry very quickly, and the glaze is now sticking to the surface. So we're moving on here. The glaze has dried a little bit, maybe a few minutes. I've wiped that bottom of the foot ring, and I'm applying another glaze on top. This is a black glaze that I'm putting on the top. So it's going to be black on white, except I don't think it'll end up being black when it's all finished. Probably be a bit more blue. Anyway, what I'm doing here is I'm painting on some bands on my banding wheel. I could probably put this pot on my potter's wheel again, and it'd be spinning a little easier maybe, but I like to use my banding wheel. Anyway, I did a few more bands on there, did a few more wiggly lines and dots and this and that, and brush design. Now it's coming out of the kiln for the second time, Here it is, here it is. Take a closer look. Oh, I'm very happy with this. I think it came out really nice. Beautiful form. That's the form I like. I like that brown foot ring. And the bands came out nice and blue, nice brush strokes.